April and it is my 10-year anniversary as a homeowner. So I have been meaning to talk about this topic on my channel, but this is a great opportunity where I really wanted to share a few tips that have enabled me and my family at a relatively young age to get into home ownership as well as investment properties. But by no means did we accomplish this on our own purely through hard work. There were definitely some tips and tricks that made it possible for us, and we did not do it on our own. So I wanted to share this with you. I also wanted to do a huge thank you and shout out to Money Mom, who recently shouted out to me on her channel. If you are not subscribed to Money Mom, I'm going to link her channel down below, but she is talking about things like this all the time on her channel, practical and helpful life knowledge, especially about finance, and I think you should be subscribed to her. She's amazing. Money Mom, this video was definitely also stimulated by your video about the pros and cons of home ownership, and I will just say that I do think that home ownership is worth it, especially for the long run of wealth building, but it is not for the faint of heart. Let's dive right into it. Here are my 5 tips, and I also have a bonus tip in case you find yourself in a situation like we did where you have problems after you buy a property. So let's get started. If you do the math, I bought my first property, a little bungalow house in Los Angeles, the fall of 2008 and closed in spring of 2009. There were definitely some factors that helped that work out for me. That was when the housing market collapsed, and it was an incredible opportunity for someone like me who was a first-time home buyer. So my first tip for you is look for a distressed or undesirable property rather than a turnkey property. This might mean buying a fixer-upper. This might also mean buying a house that's in probate or a short sale. And I actually bought a property that was both in probate as well as being very shabby, and it needed a lot of work. In buying the house that we're in now, I also recommend expanding your radius that you're searching in by a mile or 2, because you just never know. And if the market is improving and people are priced out of that little small area that you're interested in, if you expand just a little bit further out in your radius, like we did, it might save you $1 million like it did for us. So that's the second part of my first tip of buying distressed, or finding a diamond in the rough that might just be 1 or 2 blocks outside of the area you're looking. Number 2, build up your investment nest egg. Honestly, in order to qualify for loans, I would say that the biggest asset I had was my life savings that I started when I was a child. So I saved and invested, and that money had time to grow. I also had retirement savings, and I took advantage of employer matching, again, growing my hard-earned dollars as best as I could over time. In addition, in the year and a half leading up to my buying, I lived at home with my parents rent-free. I talked my way into a good paying job, and I saved every single dollar that I earned. So I was both working, earning, and saving, but I also was investing and leaving that money untouched for as long as possible. I highly recommend it, and I really would say that for all 3 of our purchases in the last 10 years, that nest egg that was untouched is like the biggest factor that qualified us to buy. Number 3 is family gifting. So when I say it is hard to do this alone, I'm telling you, we did not do this alone. There are IRS limits for family gifting. I think it's $15,000 a year where one family member can gift to another without you having to pay gift tax on that money. So just be aware, if you do have someone who wants to be supportive, just make sure that you are following the rules. Family gifting is amazing, and I do think it's what's enabling young people in our community to be able to get the money together to buy. Other versions of this are family loans. That's where the money is being temporarily gifted and you pay it back on a payment schedule, just like a mortgage, with a designated interest rate. And the IRS has this information detailed. You'll have your accountant draft the paperwork, and then it is an official loan. Family loans are definitely a tool that we have benefited from, that have enabled us to buy and to not have to pull money out of investments and pay capital gains taxes on that. The other possible option, if you have family who want to be generous and have a will and an inheritance planned for you, is you can get an advance on your inheritance. So if a larger sum of money is to be gifted to you, paperwork can be drawn up so that that money is tracked and documented in their will or trust. And then whatever that gift was is deducted off of your final inheritance when that comes to pass. And that's another formal way to transfer money and help you out with a down payment. My fourth tip for you is once you have an accepted offer, negotiate. And we did this in the form of doing lots of inspections. We pay for home inspections. I've had electricians come in, chimney inspection, sewer line inspection, pool inspection, whatever the areas of concern are with the property, inspect and get an inspection report. That has saved us tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that we can have intelligent conversations with the seller about our concerns. And in any instance where there's been a health or safety concern, like electrical that could cause a fire, something that is leaking and causing structural damage, some sort of addition that might have been done illegally without permits, and you can pull permits on properties that you're considering, get all the information up front. In our case, we have usually asked for money back on the sale in the form of 50% of whatever the repair cost would be. If that seller is motivated and wants the sale to go through, they're usually willing to meet you halfway. My fifth tip for you is all about creativity. This was something that we did in buying this house, where we wanted to be in this house for the long term and have the smallest mortgage possible and the lowest property taxes possible. In California, your property taxes more or less are calculated as 1.5% of your purchase price, whatever is recorded with the clerk's office as the sale price. Negotiating down the price is one way to get that sale price down and have a smaller sale number to calculate off of for your property taxes. Another negotiating tool that we did was we would, in the escrow closing, we would pay for other fees and have that taken down off of the sale price. So we paid the seller's closing costs, we paid transfer taxes, and we took that off of the sale price to bring it down as low as possible. We did the calculation. It was worth putting more money down up front, sort of like a bigger down payment, to have lower payments on our mortgage and taxes for the long term. And we actually calculated how many years it would take to make our money back, and we felt that that was worth it. We feel really smart about it because we felt we got a really great price on this property, and then that price got even better because we have lower property taxes as a result of this little acrobatic trick in our closing paperwork. Lastly, this is a bonus tip for you. If you have surprises come up after you have purchased a property, there are a couple of safety nets that might be there to assist you. We have had some surprises come up that were really catastrophic and expensive repairs. We went back to our inspection company regarding one major item that was not flagged in our inspection. That inspection company made good and paid for the cost to re-roof our garage that was being crushed by a concrete roof that was illegally added on. So that was thousands of dollars that they saved us to be good on their word that they would inspect and find everything that we had paid them to look at. The other situation that we have been in this property are property line disputes. Not one, but two different property lines on this property were not as they were detailed in our escrow paperwork, or they were being encroached upon. Our title company came to our assistance. They were willing to pay for a survey to be done, and in one instance we had to have a wall rebuilt that was not a straight line, and the title company assisted with that cost for us as well. Those are my tips for you. I really just wanted to put out there the ways that we have been able to invest in properties as young people, and it was not alone and it was not straightforward. There was definitely a lot of creativity that made this possible. It is not for the faint of heart. We definitely have a lot of expenses and responsibilities as property owners and as landlords. We're making it work right now. It is definitely stressful on our family, but I think for the long term it's going to be worth it. Leave me your comments down below. I would love to hear from you and to hear if you're looking to save and buy a property or if you've been able to do it and what your tricks are. As always, give this video a like and click the subscribe button if you haven't already. I am so happy to have you here and thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.